back again. We are here talking Marvel on Disney Plus. I'm Kuya P, and I'm joined by my marvelous friend who always joins me when we talk Marvel on Disney Plus, Heather Hurt from our new release Wednesday comic side of the NRW Nerds Rule the World. Heather, how are you today?
Better, because I'm talking She-Hulk. How about you?
We're talking She-Hulk. I know you're excited because we've been talking all about it since we got the early look. We got the opportunity to see the first four episodes.
Wish it was films. Damn.
It would have been dope if they were the films. But episodes, I'll take whatever I can get. She-Hulk, we got the advanced look, but we are doing recaps of each episode as they drop. So we're going to be talking all about episode 1, which is called a normal amount of rage. Just a normal amount of rage. I'm super excited to talk all about this. So let's break down the story and the plot with Heather. I'll talk about the characters that appeared in this episode, and then we'll talk all about our thoughts, our review of episode 1, our recap of a normal amount of rage. So let me not make you rage anymore. Let me stop wasting your time. Let me throw it to Heather so she can rage out on the plot. Here we go.
Yeah, rage. Well, the really cool thing about episode 1 in so many ways is that it really didn't have a plot. It was just the filler to get us up to speed on where we currently are in the current universe. So we needed to, of course, see how Jennifer became the She-Hulk before we really get into the series. So the first episode starts with her already having the abilities, and she just cuts right into that fourth wall and gives us the background, which we see right behind me, where she's going on some sort of trip with her cousin Bruce Banner, and something happens. They get attacked, or what appears to be an attack by an alien spaceship, and they end up falling down. I should clarify, we're not sure if it's an attack. I just want to clarify that. We're not sure if it's an attack. And they fall down a hill and have a really bad car accident, or what appears to be a bad car accident. Some of Bruce's blood ends up in an open wound that Jennifer got during the attack. She ends up rampaging through a small forest, ends up at a bar, which is filled with one of the cutest, most real life women's bathroom scenes ever happen in the entire universe of cinema. And then they end up on this quaint little island-esque or California area with lots of palm trees that Bruce has kind of made a safe haven. It was during the blip, he was trying to get a hold in, I think they just call him Smart Hulk. If I remember, they just call him Smart Hulk in the MCU, but it's Dr. Green in the comics. And he trains Jennifer, because we find out that Jennifer has complete control over her Hulk form. She doesn't need anything technology-wise. She can just be in control of the She-Hulk. And then we kind of just move right back into her current day, where she is a lawyer. This is supposed to be a judicial kind of show, so we jump right into the courtroom and chaos ensues.
All right, there you go. That is the breakdown a little bit, of the storyline in there. I dig that. We didn't give you too many spoilers in there, but we'll have probably a little bit more fun in the review and what we really stood out to us. But let me talk about the characters, the actors, the amazing characters we got in this first episode. And if I brutalize in the names, I apologize. I'm going to do my best. But if I mess it up, just let me know in the comments and I will do better next time. But mad respect to all of these amazing creatives that put it down in this first episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. First up, I got to give love to our She-Hulk, our Jennifer Walters, in this lawyer show. Tatiana Maslany, who we know from Orange is the New... no, it wasn't Orange is the New Black. She was in Orphan Black.
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black.
Different Black.
Another great episode, another great series. I know my man Webster Sal, who does our Checkpoint and our gaming shows on the NRW, is a huge fan of Orphan Black. He's been recommending that series ever since it started, and was talking all about Tatiana Maslany way back when. And when this was announced, he was all for it. And from what I understand, he did check out the first episode and is loving it. And yeah, I can see why. She's an amazing actress. This is my first time becoming acquainted with her work. So I'm definitely going to check out Orphan Black and see her other work because she's amazing. She kills it as Jennifer Walters, our She-Hulk. Shout out to Tatiana. I can't wait for more as she moves onward with this series and hopefully into the bigger MCU. You're killing it, Tatiana. Of course, I gotta show love to Mark Ruffalo, our Bruce Banner / Hulk, the cousin of Jennifer Walters. Outstanding as always. Who doesn't like Mark Ruffalo? Point them out because I need to check them. They need to be checked because Mark Ruffalo is amazing. Also starring in this is Ginger Gonzaga, the best friend, if you will, that works at the firm with Tatiana Maslany. She plays the character of Nikki Ramos in this. My first time watching her as well, seeing her in this series, when I found out that she was Filipina, and I'm a proud Filipino, I was like, yes, Lord, we are representing in She-Hulk. Let's go. So that's all I got to say about Ginger. Can't wait to dig into more of her work, just like I found out about Tatiana. She's outstanding and does an amazing job as Nikki Ramos. And I also want to point out, as of this recording, we got some new Funko news. They're going to actually give us She-Hulk Funkos, and they're giving Nikki a Funko. So I got to cop that because I'm all about Filipinos representing within the toy stuff as well, and AAPI's period, because we don't have enough of our representation within toys. So I'm super excited that we have a Filipina, Ginger Gonzaga, Nikki Ramos Funko Pop that's going to drop. I can't wait. I'm going to cop that. So shout out again to Ginger on that, getting her own Funko Pop. She actually even tweeted. That's how I found out about it, because I had to follow everybody. I'm in love with She-Hulk, y'all. I'm telling y'all. So when I saw that she posted that it was happening, I was like, okay, I'm copping the Nikki Ramos, Ginger Gonzaga Funko Pop. It's gonna be mine. All right, keeping it going. I love her from The Good Place. I was a big fan of The Good Place. Hamil, and if I mispronounce that, my apologies. Jamila. Oh, so it's actually Jamila, with a J instead of like an H. Okay, Jamil. She plays Titania. Is it Titania, Heather?
Titania. Yes.
Okay, cool. Again, thank you, Heather. If I mess it up, my apologies. But again, I love her from The Good Place. So I was familiar with her work, and now with her appearing in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, super excited. She only has a little bit part in episode 1, and I'm not going to spoil the next 4 episodes, but I just will add, without too much of a spoiler, I'm hoping that we get more of her, because she's really pronounced out there with these opening pushes. But she was only in a little bit in episode 1, and is not really much in, but I'm not going to spoil. I'm trying not to, Heather. I'm trying not to. But I just want more Jamil. And we got more episodes to come. So fingers crossed. She's amazing as Titania. I just, there you go. I got to quiet down because I don't want to spoil, and I'm going to get in trouble. Heather's going to be like, you better watch it. We got to not lose our Disney Marvel connection. Those are the main characters. Looking at the cast list, I'm going to go ahead and bring it both to both of us on the screen now. There you go. I just love this cast, and I love this series. Let's just talk about it now. Let's review this. What do you want to rage out about? What do you want to talk about, Heather, without too much other than
spoil? Yeah. So I kind of talked about it. We actually just did another recording for our picks, so make sure you are subscribing to our channel, where I want to talk about conflicting opinions a little bit, just across the critique board, because I think that it's only fair to give critics. Wow, I can talk English. Critics. They're just statements and confirm and or deny or disagree. One of the big complaints that you see ever since the trailer was about the CGI. And it actually, in the first episode, still, when critics were watching it, still caught a lot of people off guard. And the big difference that we saw was Bruce Banner's CGI is so much more well-defined than She-Hulk's. My husband, I'm just going to kind of quote him here. It's because there is more on Bruce's body. There's body hair. There's more history to the character than there is She-Hulk. Her character is just kind of a green piece of fabric, it looks like. That's animated fabric, I should clarify. And that caught off a lot of critics' opinions. And y'all have every right to it. I do kind of want to talk about that elephant in the room. I agree. The first episode is definitely not the strongest. And you do get caught up with the CGI a little bit. But it was still fun. I just wanted to shout out other critics who have made a very realistic statement on the CGI and how it kind of cut them from interest of the series. Agree, disagree, Patrick? QUP, I'm sorry.
So for me, I know a lot of people, I saw those commentary, and it actually goes with a lot of other films that are out there, because we're so used to Pixar. We are inundated with amazing artwork, and the skill sets of the and talent that we know that are out there. Yeah, we're blessed to know that, but not everybody can continue that on. And as fans, and if you're aware of also with what's happening with Marvel and their CGI department in regards to a lot of overworked visual artists out there and being underpaid. It's a sad state of affairs, and that's why certain situations like this are popping up. Personally, though, I'm a fan of this content. I'm an old head that has always dreamed of my Marvel characters being on the screen. I watched those terrible Ghost Rider films. I watched those terrible Man-Thing film. The Man-Thing
Man-Thing films are so good. Those are so good.
It was terrible CGI, y'all. Like, let's be real. But we watched it because we wanted that content. So you know what? I'm not going to be picky. To me, it's good enough. Would I would like it to be better, because I know the capability that we all have now in arts and the medium. Yes. But is it serviceable? Is it good enough? Completely. And I'll take it. But what bothers me, though, is because what's bothering me about this conversation that critics are having, and about this, the art should be better, that they're just completely giving it up just because of that. And that pisses me off. This is so amazing of a show. The writing is so good. Just everything about it is so good, that if you're just being turned off because the CGI could be better, you know what? Go ahead, leave. Well, but I'd rather you not. I want people to watch it, but it pisses me off personally when we get into these types of conversations, because number one, if you really know about these artists, these motherfuckers are overworked because they're having to put in so much time into creating this great product. So it's good enough for me. And yeah, that's where I feel in regards to this subject, because there's on one end you have overworked artists, and then on the other end, people aren't just watching it period because of that. And to me, it's an amazing show, and we got to support it for more content like this.
Absolutely. No, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's just I wanted to bring up the elephant in the room.
Oh, I completely understand.
A lot of people, one of the things is a lot of people were watching it because it was a main character that was a woman. Yeah, sure. Okay. But the other thing was, the big complaint once people started seeing the trailers was her animation looks a little bit off. And number one, I can agree with the first episode. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I will say that it gets better. A lot better as it progresses. It even gets better throughout the episode. But one of the big things that we really need to push is that this is people's hard work in general. And even if it is not the quote unquote best work, it is still somebody's blood, sweat, and tears that went into these characters. So please, fellow critics, I'm not saying I disagree that some of it was it does seem a little bit short-handed, but it doesn't mean you should stop watching the series, especially just after the first episode. I literally have seen critics like, I stopped watching it after the first 15 minutes. And I'm like, you're not watching the episode then. You're not watching any of it.
So don't even comment. Like, you can't comment if you didn't watch the whole thing. Like, come on, man.
One of my favorite, and actually I love the person who said this. She is actually an incredible critic. I agree with her on basically 99.99% of things. Her comment is that there's a lot of algorithm to this. It felt very algorithmic, and And that include the CGI, the acting, everything seemed very typical. And honestly, when I looked at the first episode, I'm going to say this, I'm not giving you any spoilers for the rest of the series. Starting at episode 2, my opinions are going to skyrocket in a positive way. But if you are only watching the first episode, other than that absolutely adorable bathroom scene and Tatiana Maslany giving that really great monologue about how she can already control her rage, because people who have a female binary gender or appearance can definitely agree with that. We have all had to deal with rage because it could literally kill us if we're not careful. But it's one of those where if once you get past the first episode, all of those kind of not so great statements and reviews go out the window. Like they go out the window. I really like, it's one of those where it's like, I almost don't want to start with the review of episode 1 because it's funny, it's silly. There are some not great things about it. I've also heard a couple things, and I do want to apologize because I was definitely one of the most white people about this. The term savage is used within the first few minutes. It is a term that has great negative connotation to the indigenous peoples of the U.S. And across the globe. It also was very specifically used as a term of kind of a barbaric kind of human in regards to both Hulk and She-Hulk. Both of them have had several arcs with that title, the Savage Hulk, Savage She-Hulk. And as someone who's just read the comics, I totally missed that. I was just like, oh my God, look, there's a comic book reference. Ha 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 ha. But then people are coming out saying, I don't really feel comfortable with that word. And you know what? Even in the comics, that's not a good term anymore. It was never a good term, but like, it's not something that we should really use as a reference anymore. And sorry that I'm kind of like going on and on, but it's one of those words. This, in so many ways, please do not base this show off of the first episode. Please don't, because trust me, it's that all the cute, funny things that you get in episode 1, they are only going to get greater and better as the series progresses. Get to episode 2, get to episode 3, get to episode 4. You are going to enjoy it and you're going to love it. So please don't think that episode 1 is really the baseline. Think of it as the baseline. It is the bottom of the barrel. And I, once again, mean that in a very respectful way. But it's only going to get better.
All right. So we were talking earlier, I think during our weekly show, you know, and lead up to this review of and recap of episode 1. I think I said I've watched this, I want to say between 5 and 10 times. We watched it. I watched it a couple times when we had the screeners, you know, early on. And then when it drops last week, I watched it like another 5 or 6 times. So I'm in between 5 and 10 times I've watched this episode 1. And I absolutely loved it. It got to me, episode 1 got better every single watch. You know, I noticed little things that I picked up that I might have missed a little bit more, or just really sat more. And then it got me. I will admittedly say, and again, spoilers, y'all, check out, this is a recap, so this is knowing that you've watched episode 1. What I missed, even though it's a very small scene, that ender thing that we get with after the credits, the joke went over my head. It didn't first click when at first watch, that whole Captain America fucked, you know, that really like made me laugh the second or third go round, because it didn't really hit the first time when I watched it. So let's talk favorite moments in this. Heather, you brought up, you know, the bar scene when she's coming back after, you know, hulking out for the first time, goes to a bar and then meets some young ladies, and you know what y'all do in support of each other, which I think is beautiful.
Absolutely. If you don't know, that scene was actually really, really important to the showrunner and writer, Jessica Gao. Shout out. She actually had a very similar thing happen to her at, I think she said the Emmys. I think that's what she said. And like it, no matter what type of stereotype you think of women, once again, apologize for the binary, but often enough in Hollywood, all you get is this cattiness, and you might have a cute relationship like we see with Nikki and Jennifer. But usually in a film or in film and television, it's really catty. It's kind of bitchy. But the moment that any woman walks into a bathroom, any woman or non-binary person who uses a female bathroom, it is a safe place. It'll always be a safe place. Apparently, it was one of Gao's most important scenes in the entire series. And like, if you were a woman, I actually, when I watched it the first time, I actually got up and said, yes. I said yes so loudly, I'm pretty sure my neighbors heard. Like, it is a great scene. It is an important scene. And it really shows people. And that's one of the things. I'm sorry, I know I went off like a weird tangent, but like one of the things the show does incredibly well is it humanizes people and superheroes. And that was one of the most human scenes. I'm going to call it, I'm not going to say any more spoilers, but in the first 4 episodes we've seen, that is one of the most human, realistic scenes in the entire series for the first 4 episodes. And it was incredible.
Incredible. I loved it. Another just really favorite element of this episode. I know you pointed out earlier that it was formulaic or just certain beats that, your other critic friend said. I can understand that, but I think with people that you sometimes you have to follow formula for people that aren't familiar with a specific character. We're introducing to the masses who may not be familiar with She-Hulk for the first time. So, this is kind of like the gateway drug, if you will, by following a formula. So it worked out perfect. I know for my wife, who was never familiar with She-Hulk, now she loves this. We watched it together. That's why we watched it almost 10 times now, because she loves this show. The relationship that we got, that they had to do, people are more familiar with Hulk than She-Hulk, to have them kind of cross paths and teach each other. Those moments were outstanding. I know a lot of it is formulaic and there's a lot of corniness there, but I thought it was perfect for them building each other. But what I really, really love is that difference that was pointed out. Here's Hulk, Bruce Banner, who has 2 different sides of his personality as a man. And then here's She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, who's still Jennifer Walters, and knows how to control, because you have to deal with it all the time. There's a meme now that was taking some of that dialogue from this episode, which I love. It's so true, and I can admit that as a man, you know what I'm saying? I love that they're showing this. And then it's going to now, then everybody that's seeing this will now get that message that, there's these unique differences between us as male, female. And again, I want to be careful with, like, as you are, Heather, with, whatever you claim, we are all people, human beings. And then there's this labeling as sex, as male, female, whatever. We're just human beings, y'all. But I love how it's illustrated in this fashion, if you will, to talk on things and just how in control you as women are so powerful. And again, it's history has shown that, y'all have been treated unfairly. And I love how this is kind of changing that diagram a little bit, if you will. And it's a credit to the amazing all-female, well, not all-female, for the most part. There's a large amount of females that are behind the screen on the other side of the camera that are holding it down. And shout out again to Jessica Gao, who's Asian, by the way, which I love. So again, I just spotlight that because Asians are killing it. She's the writer, creator on this. And Kat Corio, who's the director on this, and just the amazing female representation, because again, representation matters, y'all. And this series is going to pave the way and just will, it's a great lawyer show. And I love that. We didn't talk enough on it being a lawyer show. No, but what did you think of those conversations that we're having with Jessica and Bruce, and just them kind of coming to terms, and just that dialogue that we got there, Heather?
Absolutely. And I do want to emphasize, I apologize. Once again, it was just kind of a vomiting of words. So I apologize. I agree on the algorithmic side of it, but at the same time, I also very much agree. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need it, especially in the introduction of a new character in an already developed universe. So that's why I was really trying to emphasize, for those of you who think that number 1 is, the end all be all, don't. Like it's not. That's sorry. That's why I wanted to emphasize that it's really not. But no, absolutely. And one of my favorite scenes though is definitely where Bruce grabs a whole bunch of pages from this very clear, huge volume of work that he's done and just throws it out the window.
Yeah.
Great scene. Like, well, shit. God damn it.
Yeah. Like he put in all this work and now just gone to hell.
Fine.
Just so many cute scenes. Another one that's coming to mind real quick is when they fight and they argue and they mess up the bar and there's just like this little bit of a pouting. Hulk is pouting. He goes, damn it, you're fixing my bar. But just that pound to the side as he's already on the ground, so sad, so upset. It's like a baby pout, and it's the Hulk. He's pouting. Oh my gosh. I loved it. It was so cute.
Yes, and in that moment where he catches her breaking the fourth wall, I thought that was cute. Hulk does not usually break the fourth wall, but the fact that She-Hulk was the OG. She did do it.
Can you speak on that, because there's also some ridiculous man boys that just Deadpool this, Deadpool that. Get the fuck out of here,
y'all. I'm just gonna say this as a very clear breakthrough to every comic nerd who's pretty much getting used to it, and or men who don't actually read comics and just believe that they know everything.
Let's go.
And yes, I am talking within the binary high men. She-Hulk, I won't deny that I was actually a little concerned about it because I felt like this show was going to be too campy, and adding a fourth wall break was actually concerning to me, not because it's not in her character, because it is. She was breaking the fourth wall way before Deadpool was even introduced ever. And but it was one of those where I was concerned because I was hoping it would make it too campy, and it didn't. But no, to make that very, very clear statement, Jennifer Walters has been breaking the fourth wall way longer than any of your other favorite characters. Way longer. Hell so yeah. This is actually, and I'll call this back, one of the things that I loved about this show is it was one of the most accurate not accurate. It felt the most comic book, yes, more so than any of the other characters, because this version of Jen Walters is what we got in the Dan Slott run. This is that Jen Walters. So if you're thinking it's not what she would do, or it's what someone else did, no. All of those other characters copied exactly what Jen Walters has been doing for decades.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, man.
Real talk. Like y'all haven't read a comic book if you're saying that shit. Like, get the fuck out. I'm sorry. I don't want to, I should stop cursing, but it makes me so upset and mad. Like, y'all are ridiculous.
I will say this. I won't even say that you haven't read a comic book. You haven't gone to www.google.com and done your research before you opened your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, does anybody do that anymore?
I don't know. I don't think men know how to spell, so I don't really.
Yeah.
I guess I can't assume anything anymore.
Yeah, you definitely can't assume anything anymore.
Yeah.
This show again, great moments mm-hmm. throughout. Titania, as I said earlier when I was breaking down the characters, I love Jamila Jamil in The Good Place. She only had a little bit in here. I was a little sad about that, but for the overall story point, it wasn't her. We had to introduce Tatiana. We had to introduce Jennifer Walters, and it's a great character setup. And so, there's more episodes to come, and we're not going to spoil it because we have some advanced knowledge. But we'll talk more on that, and they better do me right. I just got to say that. But for this opening episode, I thought it was amazing. Again, I enjoyed it the more times I watched it. And, but yeah, I was already in it though, from the jump off, because I was a fan of Sensational She-Hulk during the John Byrne run, I want to say. And then Dan Slott obviously wrote the most She-Hulk stories for us. But Jessica Gao, Kat Coro, the director, this creative team of amazing females that are also behind this. I love everything about the show. The opener, the music, that animated Ender closing scenes. I need to find out who's the artists that are doing those animated
really
closings.
nice. Like this, I love that, and they do change. As a
Yes, they do.
statement, just like with Moon Knight, just like with everything, make sure you watch those final credits because they do change based
Mhm.
off the series. And it's so if you haven't watched it with any of them, go back, watch Miss Marvel, go back, watch Hawkeye. Those change. Actually, I think Hawkeye was the only one that really didn't change.
You might be right.
I think
But
Hawkeye, I think the
shout out
music
to
changed.
the people on the musical selection who
Yeah,
are taking care of us on that stuff. They're doing an outstanding job. And like, it was Eve on, I think, at the end of this one, right? Eve,
I think so. I think so,
Who's
yeah.
That Girl? Yeah, yeah. It was the Who's That Girl track by Eve. Just an amazing ender as she doesn't want to mess up her suit. Again, hashtag spoilers. Um, doesn't want to mess up her suit, but then I love it. My wife is a big shoe person that to end up with like she de-hulks, then goes puts into the shoes and just ends right there. It's and then then like I'm ready to finish this case. Like I may have hulked out real quick, but I'm my job ain't done. I'm about to close this case right now. Like let's go. Like just so good, man. So many good
One thing
qualities in this
one thing
episode.
to really interject, and I apologize, this is supposed to be a procedural show. Like this is a judiciary procedural show.
Yeah,
So
lawyer
all in
show.
all, she is a lawyer. Remember, Jen Walters is a lawyer first and She-Hulk second. So when you're watching this series, think just think that this is a comedy judiciary show.
Yeah.
And so remember that she is going to be a lawyer first, always.
Yeah, and I can't wait for and we're not going to talk about the next batch episode. We're going to talk after each episode, but I love this setup. The setup episode again to me, episode 1 was amazeballs. They set her up. We're not going to get into these. We'll talk about when we get to them, but like I cannot wait till we get further along because this is going to be lawyer show hashtag lawyer show and just happens to be superhero. Like I cannot wait. If you love the comic book. Again, to your point, Heather, this has been one of the best adaptations of a comic book into cinematic form, straight up. And I've been a longtime fan. Heather is a comic retailer and fan as well. Like they're killing it. And if we don't get more She-Hulk Attorney at Law, I'm gonna be mad at y'all. Those who are watching this that aren't supporting this, man. Y'all gotta give it up, man. They're killing it with this. And if it's just because of the animation, man, fuck you. I'm sorry. Like, it just makes me mad. Like for the people that are giving up on it because of that. It's outstanding, well cast, well written, beautifully filmed, just everything about it. I'm all about it, man. And I can't wait to talk about episode 2. So I'm gonna stop there. Anything you have, Heather?
If you are not, I will go back to what we were talking originally, or what Kuyopi mentioned originally. If you are watching this show for absolutely no other reason, watch it for Ginger Gonzaga. She is an absolute
oh my gosh,
gem.
She's so awesome.
And I am so excited to see her more and more and more. Like I want to watch her in everything. I'm not just talking about in She-Hulk. Like she is a absolute peach, and I want her in everything that will ever play ever.
Yeah, man. Like I'm a new like this was my introduction to Tatiana and Ginger. Like I'm gonna check out like their other work. Were you a fan of Tatiana or familiar with Orphan Black before this?
I tried to get into Orphan Black. It wasn't that I wasn't interested. It was just one of those shows where I felt like I needed to sit down and have time for it. I never have time to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
So like that was my problem. It's not that I didn't like it. It's you need to watch that show. So
okay. But yeah, so with their representation in here, now I'm all about checking out their work. They're both amazeballs. And again, who doesn't love Mark Ruffalo? Jamila Jamil again, Jamil. If you haven't seen Good Place, go check out The Good Place. She's amazing in that. I love this series. This was well done. And give it, as we said earlier, if you didn't like the first episode, give it one more try. I like to say, for you critics, give it the wrestling style approach that Heather knows that I'm infamous for. I'll give it episode 1, I'll give it episode 2, and then a third. And if it taps out, if I tap out after 3, then I'm tapped out. Then I'll check out some, but at least give it 3 episodes. But definitely watch it all, because you can't really comment if you didn't see the whole thing. You can't just tap out at 50 minutes and say it's terrible. No, you didn't watch the whole episode. So yeah. But yeah, I want to talk more on this, but we'll save it for the next batch of episodes. Such a good time with this episode.
You'll definitely hear us from us this time. Disney is like, we need you to talk about it. So we're like, okay.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, this is the first time that we actually got hit up by Disney. Like, can you do recaps?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was gonna happen anyway, which was funny. I meant to hit you up about that too, Heather. And yeah, but
we have
super
legal obligation now.
All right, Heather, let's sign off because I know we can have some difficulty in keeping how we feel sometimes, and we have the inside track a little bit. So we'll have to watch it these first 4 episodes. But how can the people reach out to you, Heather?
You can follow me, and if you ever have any questions about the comics, you can message me on Twitter at @NerdIsAHeather or on TikTok and Instagram at HeatherIsANerd.
All right. Give Heather all the love, all the follows. For me, it's the Legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, and IG. And of course, here with Heather and the whole squad at the NRW and at Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. Those are our thoughts on a normal amount of rage. Just a normal amount of rage. For She-Hulk Attorney at Law episode 1. We can't wait to hear what you guys think. If you're tuning in, what do you expect? All of that. Let's know. Because I want dialogue about this. Because I'm having such a fun time with this. So there you go. Heather, Kuya P, we're out of here. Blah, blah, blah. All right, boom.
S01E01.